Clout on Clout forums. So this is our little podcast where we get some of the movers and shakers of Bitclout and DESO community together to come together and just really look at what's bubbling away under the surface and all the magic that's being made. So today we have a very special guest. Pardon me, still in the morning here in Australia, got my morning voice on. So very special guest here. Many of you know him as Doodles. It is Zack Brenner, I believe, Zack. So welcome, Zack.
Thanks, Mark, and good morning. I hope you have some coffee with you, huh? I'll at the very least, I'll try and keep it high energy to give you like some of that energy to get the morning started.
You're already six. I tell you what, dude. I'm gonna accidentally call you Doodles the whole time, man. I think it's a bit of a thing on.
I mean, that's my real name, right? I think I have more friends as Doodles than I do as Zack. You know, like I think at work these days, they're starting to call me Doodles. The two different identities are kind of blended together. But
it's
really
amazing how that happens, huh?
Yeah, but really though, like, it might be two different names and it might be like two different like pictures. Like, there's a human face and then there's a puppy face. But I guess to call it two different identities though, that wouldn't be fair. Because I wouldn't say it's two different identities. I would say that everything that I do as Doodles isn't as Doodles. Everything that I do, I might be posting as the puppy because, I mean, let's face the fact, the puppy is gorgeous, right? The puppy is more beautiful than I am. So it's going to work out better if I'm doing it with pictures of the puppy, but it still is my identity. It still is me. And, everything that I post as Doodles is something that I would say myself and embodies like all my thoughts and feelings. And so it's been, I didn't mean to really have like the pseudonym life. And I guess it's kind of like not even existed anymore because but my name is pretty far out there, but it's been a pretty fortunate circumstance that I've been able to kind of like merge the pseudonym life with my real life and get them all together.
It's been, you're like a classic example, Zack, of like somebody who, of this new world of crypto, right? Someone was saying to me just yesterday, they were asking me about Bitclout and, what was going on, and said, I scrolled down and I just see all these pixel things and huge amounts of money flying around. Like, what is and it's like, this is kind of the new world, right? It's almost like Ready Player One. It's like where, real professional business names are things like Doodles, it's a lot more fun coming into it.
The coolest part is it is like Ready Player One, except we're the ones like, what is the metaverse? The Oasis, right? The Oasis in Ready Player One. And the cool thing about it though is that we're the ones that are building our own Oasis. And so that's what's so fascinating about DESO, Bitclout, and even the rest of the crypto world. Like if you walk down the street and if you ask 10 people, what is decentralized social media? What is an NFT? Shoot, what is Bitcoin? And you're either going to get 10 out of 10 different answers, nobody knowing what they're talking about, or they're going to respond back knowing what you're talking about. But yet, that's what really has brought me back to this community, just like over and over and over, is that we're still like in this very, very beginning of the timeline. Like this time, if this was a game, we'd still be if this is a sports game, we'd still be in the locker room getting ready, right? We're so far in the beginning, but everybody that's here is somebody that is like relentlessly focused on building out the future. Everybody is like super positive because like you have to be, right? Because you have to be optimistic about the future. And normally like optimism and positivity have like a very strong correlation together. And so everybody's positive, they're optimistic about the future, and we're the ones that are building it. And so it's exciting and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. And, I really think that in a few years of time, we look back on like these early days and just be like, wow, we had no idea what we were talking about, but look at what we all built together through a random like acts of decisions that just ended up compounding. We'll end up building this metaverse, this oasis that we're talking about. And it's just exciting being part of the day-to-day of it. And I'm excited to build it with you, Mark.
Absolutely, man. I remember the early days in Not Your Average. We got to actually, where there was kind of time to hang out together, and we're all kind of getting to know each other. And then all of a sudden, all these projects take off. We all kind of find our little things, and all of a sudden, it's just like there's so much fire. And so it's almost it's fun to come together. It's almost like we've been on expeditions and we've come back to base camp. So I appreciate you, Doodles. All right, so let's dive in, because there's a lot of juice here. I just want to touch on briefly, out of my own curiosity as well, what is your Bitclout or DESO origin story? Like what brought you here in the first place?
So I'm trying to figure out how much of the full story, because it's like so self-deprecating. So the full self-deprecating story, self-deprecating humor that's 100% true, that I've never shared with anybody, that I'll share right now, as I went back home to New Orleans for like honestly a purely cosmetic procedure. I got some new hair. You can see it growing in. It's looking pretty good. Hey. But I knew that I was going to be.
I know the challenge.
Yeah, well, I don't have the challenge any longer. Look at all this. It's every day. It's
pretty impressive.
It's fantastic. But I knew I was going to have like 2 days where I wasn't doing anything. And so, I open up Twitter and I see people that I really respect in the community. And what was at that time, the VC and Twitter community. Now a lot of those people, we're friends with on Bitclout. It's so cool. But I see all of them talking about this really mysterious thing called Bitclout. And what I found fascinating was that half the people on there were saying, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Half the people were saying this is going to be the biggest scam ever. And me being a curious person, I was like, anytime there's something that's this divisive, I need to go see what's so divisive about it. I need to see what's going on with it and kind of like explore it myself. And since I had 2 days where I wasn't going to be able to do anything, I was like, this is perfect timing. And so download Bitclout. I throw in a sum of money that I would not want to lose, but that I was never expecting to get back, since half the people thought it was a scam, right? So I was like, okay, something that like I'll live without, but I would still like to see it again, to go into this creator coin casino and make some bets over here, make some bets over there, and buy some Elon Musk, maybe buy like, a couple of my sports teams, whatever it is. And Mark, when I say that within 5 minutes of me depositing this money, the screen went black and it said, and like red font, "Don't worry, your funds are okay." And was down for like 15 hours. Anybody that joined Bitclout at the end of March can like attest to this story. There was a day where the screen just went black and it was down for like 15 hours. And this was legitimately within 5 minutes of me depositing this money. And so I was like, man, I thought I was going to at least be able to go to the casino and play for a couple of days. I was like, I want 48 hours in a casino while I'm recovering from this surgery. And I lose my money in 3 minutes.
And you don't even get
here
to
we
roll
are
the
today.
dice.
That black screen ended up lifting. And the funny part is, Mark, when I signed up, I didn't even mean to sign up as Doodles. So first I was like, all right, I'm signing up the day that this was released. Like, I'll be able to capture my name. And so I put in Zack, and Zack was already taken because the devs had taken like, they reserved like 20,000 different profiles. So like, okay, Zack's not available. I'll be my puppy. And I've given this story before, but my puppy's name is actually Nala. And so I put in Nala, and Nala was taken too. And so I was like, well, okay, let me take a step back. Let me breathe on this for a couple of minutes and like see where I can go with this. And Nala is a golden doodle puppy. And so they call those Doodles, and I call her Doodle pretty often. At that time, I used to call her Doodle. Now I call her Doodles, but I used to nickname her Doodle. And so I put in the name Doodle. If you look me up on Clout, where it has like the name changes, you'll see that on that first day, I was Doodle. And I don't want to akin this to like in the social network where they changed the Facebook to Facebook.com. And they're like, yes, that's what it is. but it felt like that. I was like, Doodle doesn't roll off the tongue that well. And so I was like, let's see if the S is available too. And I think that was about like 200 days ago. And here we are. That's the full story, going from the cosmetic procedure all the way to how we got the name and it not even being my dog's name.
And you know what? You're 100% right. If it was Doodle without the S, to be honest, it'd be a bit awkward. I'd be talking to my Doodle all day.
Well, the thing that I always think about is if Nala would have ended up getting accepted, it would be the most confusing thing in the world, because I do these, I'm on video right now. So you can see that I'm a man. I don't want to say that I talk with like the most masculine energy, but like you can still tell from my post, if you follow my post, that I'm a man. And so if I was doing all of that with the girl's name, it would just be, it could get confusing and stuff like that. And so, and Doodles ends up being, that could be either boy or girl or anything, right? It could be any gender, any sex. And so it's just kind of like, it's really interesting. I find it really interesting on how decisions that you can make in life and everything compounds off of it. And like, you don't think that anything could come from a certain decision. Like, you don't think that if you go out for this walk at this time, you're going to end up meeting the love of your life or whatever it is. But because you chose to go at that exact moment in time, I mean, we could go back to a couple of weeks ago where I ran into one of the Krasenstein brothers, when I ran into Ed Krasenstein in Chicago, which if you want to hear that story, what?
In person, yeah? In Chicago itself.
Yeah, so it goes into those
let's go,
right?
Jump in.
Yeah, so I was in Chicago for a wedding. I live in San Francisco. I don't even live in Chicago. And the Krasenstein brothers live in Florida. They don't live in Chicago either. I just happened to leave, and I talk to the Krasenstein brothers pretty often too. And neither of us had talked about us being out of town and in Chicago at that time. I walked out of, because my meeting ended up going 5 minutes late, because I was hungry and wanted to have a 2 o'clock lunch. I ended up leaving my hotel room at 2 p.m. and literally bumped into Ed Krasenstein on the street. Like, when I say bumped into, I'm talking about I open up my hotel door and like, you take an immediate step out and accidentally bumped into him. And we look at each other and we like, at first we're like, wait, how do I recognize you? How do you, we're just looking at each other. And I'm like, it's That's Doodles. Unreal. And he's like, Krasenstein. And I was like, which one?
And that's got to be a magic moment, right? Where something that's so ethereal and so like, online in all this thing, all of a sudden one of these characters standing. And how incredible is that in a complete different city?
Well, I mean, I hope that my friend that got married isn't listening to this podcast right now, because what I'll say is that was the highlight of my weekend. I got to see one of my best friends got married, and my highlight of the weekend was running into Ed Krasenstein in Chicago.
Absolutely, man. And you know what I love about your name as well, Doodles, is that to me, it captures that buzz that you have. It is something that I love about you that's very contagious, and I think the community loves, is that positivity, but at the same time, you're bringing real value. You're not just kind of talking things up. You've got that bubbling good, just like a dog I could imagine being called Doodles. So
I guess I have a puppy personality.
A very lovable puppy personality. Fantastic. All right. So I think Alex will have a bunch of questions towards the end as well. So I've got to make sure I make the most of my time with you. You have been doing a lot for the community. So one of the, and we can see, one of the beautiful things about Bitclout, or DESO, is you can have a look at someone's account and you can see what kind of, clout they've got, which is very, organic clout, right? People have been giving me that clout because they've seen you walk your talk, doing good things for the community. And that's what I love about this platform. But one of the things that you are most well known for is the mighty Doodles Academy. So do you want to tell me, like, talk to us a bit about where that came from, what the inspiration was, and how you got started with that?
Yeah. And so honestly, like, I know that you had just mentioned that I do a lot for the community, but it's more of a give back, right? Because I've gotten so much from the community. Like, there is so much talent in this community. And like, we're about to talk about Doodles Academy, but of this cohort of 10 people, I mean, you have some of the best marketers that I've ever seen that are like consult other people on marketing. You have some of the best artists on the entire platform. You have developers. I mean, you have all these people with these unique skill sets that are much better than I am. And so I get to learn all these unique skill sets from these people. It's fantastic. And I mean, I'm so lucky. So lucky to be able to have that. But going back a little bit, where the inspiration came from is, so I guess my background is like typical MBA background. And what I like to say about MBAs, and I'm sorry to my alumni, I hope that y'all aren't listening to this, but essentially the way that an MBA platform is structured is like you have 6 weeks of class for like all kinds of subjects imaginable, but it's like a 6-week class, right? So what can you become a subject matter expert in 6 weeks, right? So what I say about MBA programs, and I'm very thankful I did it, don't get me wrong, but what I say about subject matter experts from an MBA program is you don't become a subject matter expert in anything. The only thing that you become a subject matter expert in is having the overconfidence to tell other people that you're a subject matter expert in everything, right? But what I ended up finding out though was having this very generalist skill set, kind of like scrappy by nature, right? This generalist skill set that was scrappy by nature that wasn't a subject matter expert in anything. I found that to be an asset though on Bitclout for 2 different reasons. The first of which is by not being a subject matter expert, you're able to explain business concepts to a wide variety of audience because you don't know enough of the technical details to get bogged down by the technical details. So it allows you to explain it to people that are on like different types on the spectrum of actually understanding and knowing the material, right? And then the second of which is because the knowledge is very generalist, you're able to apply it in such an abstract nature as a very beginning decentralized social media platform where you're talking as a puppy. And so I found that to be a major asset, and I hadn't built out a brand previously. I didn't have an intention to build out a brand previously. I didn't have an intention to build out a brand on Bitclout, to be honest. But the community was so welcoming and engaging that I was having so much fun doing it. And so I realized that might have been scalable, that this knowledge might have been scalable. And going back to like, you know, the different kinds of decisions that end up compounding, I was in a very lucky and fortunate circumstance that I had made friends with some very influential people on the platform and was able to like talk about ideas with them or be able to help promote each other, et cetera. And so I figured that all of that would be able to be scalable. And so at first I was kind of thinking about like, you know, I was thinking about like, okay, like what you really do in an MBA program is you're there for the networking. And so maybe I make like a Bitclout MBA type thing. And the more that I started frameworking that though, like I didn't like the concept of the tuition. I didn't think that it kind of like went with the whole community feel, and it didn't use like the payment structure that was native to Bitclout. This is an old educational type of structure, and I didn't really want to use that. And so what I realized instead was that what I wanted to do was closer to an accelerator model than an educational model. And so I went and did some more research on Y Combinator. For those that don't know what Y Combinator is, that's known as probably the premier startup accelerator program in, I was going to say the country, but in the world. So you have companies like Coinbase, you have companies like Coinbase, Airbnb, Dropbox. I think there's like something like close to $1 trillion, if not more, of value have come from this program. And what they do is they help very early stage startups by giving them some seed capital and having them work. And they have supreme relationship effects by having these 2 different cohorts every year. Some of those companies end up becoming successful. They hire these other companies, they share best practices, and then it works in like a self-fulfilling feedback loop. And so I wanted to adopt that model over to Bitclout. And so that's what I did. So rather than trying to sell an educational model, instead, I asked who wanted an investment from me, who has the resources, who wants to get a network going and who wants to be part of like building out this community. And that's who I want to partner with. And so I released, I worked with a couple advisors that are still mainly behind the scenes. Some of them are upcoming guest speakers. And we worked on building out this model. And when we ended up releasing it, we had over 100 applicants. The amount of people that wanted to be involved with this, like, it blew me away. My plan, Mark, when I launched this, my plan was I wanted to interview every single person because I love getting to talk to as many people on Bitclout as I can because everybody is so impressive. And it ended up being that I could only do it for like 40 people because two reasons. One, because we had over 100 applications and it was too much. I still do have a day job. But two, my plan was to do these 15, 20-minute interviews. And these interviews ended up lasting like minimum 45 minutes each because there was so much to talk about and so much to learn from each other. And so I realized pretty quickly after like the third one, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do an hour-long interview every time. But I didn't want to cut any interview short because everybody was amazing. And so we ended up getting a cohort of 10 like fantastic emerging creators. And as I had mentioned before, you have marketers, you have devs, you have people that are building all kinds of businesses. They might be focused on being creators, building businesses on Bitclout DESO ecosystem. And what's also like really amazing about it is, one, we were able to get 50% male, 50% female. And so like, I know that the whole intention of a cohort is that you want to have the sum of all their parts together. You want the whole to be more valuable than the sum of their individual parts. And so in order to do that, you want to work on diversity as much as possible. So this was a purposely diverse group where we have all those kinds of skill sets that I discussed. We have 50% male, 50% female. And then what's crazy, and honestly, Mark, it makes scheduling pretty crazy, but we also have people from 5 different countries. And so when we're scheduling our meetings, we have to account for numerous time zones in the United States, numerous time zones in Europe, and we have somebody all the way over there by you over in Australia. And the really amazing part about that is our Australian member, Jess, aka Comfort is for Wimps on Bitclout and DESO. She has joined meetings at 5 a.m. on Saturdays. Could you believe that?
Saturdays. That's dedication. That's dedication.
We try adjusting the times and everything, but
yeah,
to have like, this isn't anybody's full-time job. This isn't anything like that. And to be able to have the dedication and support to be able to join 5 a.m. on a Saturday, I admire it so much. It's so impressive. And, I'm super thankful. I'm super thankful that I get to work with them every day and really, really excited to see each of them grow and for them to help me grow too. And it's going to be really cool over the years as we all work together.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I think that speaks so much for, it's one of those things everyone's kind of being blown away with as we go further down this adventure, that DESO just grows more solid and bigger and better as opposed to the opposite. And I think that's just a vision of, everyone's dedication coming from, real belief in the vision, right? People can feel it. We can taste it. Like, we don't know how it's going to get there. We don't know exactly what this is going to, but we can all feel it's going in the right direction, right? It's like one hell of an adventure. And seeing that kind of dedication, because I'm much like yourself, dudes. I love, it's challenging. Like, I can't even go into Nacho Average very often anymore because I know I can't leave if I do, because I love talking to, and it's just like you're saying, a 15-minute, 20-minute interview, that would be impossible with these people. So it's incredible where we're going, man. It is. It's
crazy. It's like, I've made the friends that I've made on this platform. I mean, it's amazing. I'm in Miami right now with a friend that I met on Bitclout. It's it's crazy the amount of friends that I've made, and then these internet friends have become real life friends too. And like, we're all impacting each other's lives in so many different respects. Like, when I have ideas, I've been reaching out to people that I know from this DESO ecosystem before I reach out to people that I know from real life. And I find it just so fascinating how ingrained into my personal life, my off the metaverse life, whatever you want to call it, how it's really taken over that, and how thankful I am for these connections that I've made. Like these are ones that I fully expect are going to last an entire lifetime.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think these are the kind of conditions, where we see people really bonding over something, where, and when you're launching something like this, it's wild, and there's a powerful essence that comes and generates. Now, there's, we had great entry into this. We all got to meet lots of people, and we're part of that early fire in the beginning. Do you have any advice for, people that might be very new to Bitclout, or maybe they've been here the whole time, but haven't yet been able to connect in or get that feeling of community or feeling of the fire that's here, in how they can help with that?
So I'm going to say it's kind of a loaded question, because I'll kind of take it two different ways. So first of which is, I would tell them to zoom out. So we say that we were the early ones, right? So there's 4,500 daily active users. This is going to be something that, if successful, is going to be in the millions of active users. If it's really successful, you're looking at tens, if not hundreds of millions. And so 4,000 daily active users is still nothing. And so you are still very much early on to find your community, find your friends, and everything like that. But then I guess the second part of it is like how to find your community, where it is that, who are your people, right? And that's a good question, because right now, the way that I would kind of think about this is, I think that there's going to be some tools that are going to really help with that kind of, like, I don't want to call it segmentation, because that sounds like a fracturing type of thing, but really like segmenting like what people's interests are. As this grows out, there's going to be more of these types of segmentation. There's going to be developers that are going to be able to make very sustainable and scalable businesses that are going to be catering towards different types of personalities and what you are on the platform. Something that I think will end up definitely happening is, right now, most people on the platform are three different things all in one. And I don't think that's what's going to happen. And what I mean by that is, people are creators. People are looking for people to invest into their coins. So they're working as active creators. They're also working as investors. They're purchasing other people's coins. And then the third of which is, they're also being fans. And so, like, if you're celebrity, whatever celebrity is on the platform, they're going to be following that celebrity, buying those NFTs, and hopefully soon, like, buying these fan experiences, right? And I think what's going to happen eventually when we're at scale is, you can't have everybody on the platform be a creator. If everybody on the platform tries to be an investor, they're going to lose. Most day traders in equities do lose. And so you're going to have people that are either there wanting to be a creator to make their money on social media and be on a fair playing field. You're going to have people that are investing in those creators and helping build up these emerging creators to become the next superstars of social media. And the third one is going to be the ones that are more in the shadows. They're not going to be investing. They're not going to be creators, but they want to have all the benefits, whatever those benefits end up being. If you hold X amount of Doodles coin, you might be able to have access to whatever it is, go to some Doodles Academy lectures, whatever it is. And so then they would end up doing that just because they want the experiences. And it's going to be really cool seeing how that kind of like segmentation ends up occurring once we are at more of a larger scale, and these like Venn diagram of circles don't overlap as much anymore.
That Venn diagram image at the end really kind of sealed that up for me, because you're right. It's like it's all tight here, but once we stretch her out, we got plenty of space. Yeah. All right, beautiful. So, all right, now there's so many places I would love to go with this conversation, but let's keep it to what's going on right now, because there's been some big news announced. What was your thoughts and reactions to the announcement around the Octane fund for DESO? I said last night, but it's technically still today for America, I guess.
Yeah. So wow, right? That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's wow. So we've always had like the we've heard rumors there's gonna be a dev fund, and like a lot of other really exciting things coming. I'm telling you this very transparently. There is an extra zero added to this dev fund number than what I had expected. I was expecting this to be like, $5-10 million, which would be fantastic. You'd be able to change so many people's lives with $5-10 million. Yeah. And then $50 million comes in. And, the first thing that I'm thinking about is all the devs that we work with, that are on the community that have been working tirelessly, and not getting paid a ton of money for that yet, right? But they're building for the future. And now with this new dev fund, this is going to change some of their lives. And it's gonna be really exciting to see that happen to friends of ours, right? Because that's what we are now at this point. We're friends with them. And so I'm really excited to see multiple friends of mine have their lives changed all at one time. So that's the first thing, and that's what's most exciting for me. The second really cool part is that this is now going to be really attractive to bring additional devs over that weren't previously on here. And when you bring in talent, that's going to expand the opportunities and possibilities of what we're able to do. And so the more talent that goes to a place, the more of an ecosystem that's going to be able to get built up, right? And so you look at, like, I remember 3 years ago, people were saying Ethereum was the next spot because that's where all the VC money was going. And there was a ton of incredibly talented devs that were going to Ethereum, and they started building out stuff. And now we're seeing the fruits of that labor all explode right now. And that's what's going to be happening with DESO now, with a $50 million fund, plus potential additional VC funding on top of that, right? So this is just from the DESO Foundation, but there's the Octane funds from the DESO Foundation, but there's all these VCs ingrained into this ecosystem that are all incentivized for Bitclout to succeed because of their prior investments. And so they'll be able to help these devs. Maybe, they might get seeded with this initial DESO Foundation money, but then when they're looking for Series A, Series B, they're already ingrained to this ecosystem, and there's going to be some really cool opportunities. And so yes, I mean, the long story short, we get to see the lives of friends of ours get changed, and we get to welcome new devs that are going to help change this ecosystem. And then Mark, everybody was so excited about this dev fund that not nobody, but a lot of people didn't read the last sentence of the press release. So they released the Octane fund. That was the dev fund. And the last sentence of the press release, they said there's still going to be an NFT fund upcoming and a small creators fund too. Wow.
That's on top of the 50 million?
That's what it was implied.
That's how it reads, right?
I'm not going to speak for Fast Freddy or for Nader or for the core team, but that was my interpretation of it.
Yeah. I mean, that would be wild. I mean, at 50 million, I'd say there's room for everyone in there, but if it's on top of that, that is just wild.
So I mean, it's
how do you imagine because there's a lot of people, a lot of the creators out there are very curious as to how they might use that. So what's your thoughts on how they'd use that? Would it be in investing in creator coins? Would that be the most likely way you think that they're going to be able to share that around?
For the dev fund?
Not for the dev fund, but for the actual NFTs, for the creators. Like how would that go out to support people, do you think? How would it be used?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
I don't know how it would be structured. I don't know the size. I just right before this call, I did put I bought a decent amount of coins of an NFT project that made an announcement. And so I don't want to really promote it here, but if you look at my holdings, you can go see that. Just because I don't like promoting stuff that I'm doing. But I am starting to invest in some both creators that I think would be able to gather money from this fund, as well as different NFT opportunities in the DESO ecosystem, because we do know that these are coming. We don't know how much it's going to be, but if it's anywhere near as explosive as this dev fund, then we know it's not going to disappoint us.
I mean, that's one thing we can say from this last announcement is we can see very clearly these guys ain't playing. It's like they're coming in with all guns blazing, like that little promo video, with
it's not easy to change the world. And, unfortunately, not fortunately, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of times to change the world, you need to put gas on the fire to do that. And so, you need to make sure that there's enough gas to make that fire burn. And that's what they're doing.
They certainly are, man. They certainly are. All right, we got a little bit more time. So talk to me. Tell me, what are the next developments that you're most excited about that are in the pipeline? Like what are you hoping comes next when it comes to announcements?
So I want to welcome, I want to grow the community. And so I'm most focused on which of these announcements are going to bring people to DESO. I want to see how we can welcome them to DESO. I want to work with other like people in the community to make sure that anybody that does join is welcomed into this and feel like they have a place here. And we can do whatever we can to help them thrive and succeed and not only stay, but then tell their friends to come too, and then give them the same experience and compound this effort, positive reinforcement cycle until we have that hockey stick growth.
Awesome. And so I mean, one of the things I'm really looking forward to is this, you know, because it's correct, right? There's a new user interface that's supposed to be released at some point.
That's the rumor. I know as much as you do, Mark, but you know, we hear it through the grapevine.
And then a referral program was my understanding off the back of that was the rumors on the street.
So Krasenstein made a post about. So Krasenstein made a post about the referral program today, and Krasenstein doesn't miss. So we know it's coming. And I had responded back to that post. What I'm curious about with the referral program is how the referrals will get paid out, right? So are they going to be paying out in the form of DESO? Are they going to pay out in the form of this person's creator coin? Are they going to pay out in a way to where you make a percentage of all creator coin sales of the person that you refer over? And so you have recurring passive income. I don't know, but honestly, that's one of the things that I started doing, like, you know, in my free time behind the scenes. I'm starting to be like, okay, how can I position myself to be able to bring people onto the platform? So, you know, starting to join these different Discord communities for NFTs and being like, hey, I'm Doodles, like, you know, making some friends. And so when I put in my referral link, I have the trust and respect and can try and rally some people onto here. And you know, there's some people on this platform that do have a pretty significant following outside the platform, and you know, they're just waiting. They're waiting for all of a sudden somebody just say, on your mark, get set, go, and they'll bring in a lot of people, and they're gonna get paid for it. And from the referrals, they'll get paid for it. Yeah. And you know, if you're an investor in creator coins, those are the types of people you might want to start purchasing some of their creator coins, because when their fans join, that's where they're going to be investing first.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think, you know, Doodles, when you say it, it's exactly how I feel as well. I feel like everyone's lining up at the starting line now. It's like we're all hustling around. You know, I often use the market, festival example. You know, everyone's setting up their market stalls at the festival, getting their stages ready, getting everything ready. And then some of us are like, okay, I'm ready. And we're waiting at the starting line. And it's like, and then others are still going. So we go help them and we help others and we start building it up like you're doing with the academy and things. But it feels like more and more of us are kind of getting ready at that starting line, saying, okay, just let us know when this platform's ready. And I know myself personally, I deleted my Facebook account. It wasn't a huge one. It was about 9,000 on there, but they were pretty dedicated around the world with the work I used to do. And I just went missing. I kind of said, look, I'm going off social media. And I've had one find me on here since, just randomly. And as soon as this goes, as soon as the platform's ready, it's like there's going to be so many of us that just straight away are going to be like, oh, hallelujah, let's go, and be able to go out there and start onboarding. Because, and the beautiful thing is, with an affiliate, with a referral program, we would be doing that anyway, right? Like we want people to come on the platform anyway. Yeah. There's plenty of ways for us all to win without a referral program. So for everyone who's watching this, if you haven't yet kind of found your place yet, you know, you can bring your community over. You can bring people and build it from scratch and get paid for it, you know, through the referral program. But we'll see how that looks when the time comes. Huh?
We're all aligned. And, you know, I like that starting line analogy that you use. Because what I would suggest on that is, it's just like how you were saying, we're all at the starting line. And so that's what I would recommend to people, because when they shoot off that gun and the race starts, unless you're Usain Bolt, you have to start on time with everybody else. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind, right? And so you always want to be prepared for when the race starts, because when the race starts, the runners are fast. And if you're not starting with everybody, like you're going to have that head start. And so, there's people that try and time the markets and stuff like that. And, as we've seen in the past 2 weeks, we've seen the price of DESO go up 200% in the past 2 weeks, right? It was down to like $60. I guess it's like 130. So, but 120% in 2 weeks or whatever, which that's crazy. And so if you just went on a vacation for 2 weeks, if you had sold before you went on the vacation, you're like, oh, I'm going to time the market, then you would have missed out on all this. When things move, they move fast. When this race begins, people are going to be running fast. And so, just always be there, because when things happen, they happen fast. And it seems like right now is about to be the time, like, this next quarter, Q4 of 2021, things will be moving fast. It should be pretty fun.
All right. I think that is a beautiful little bracket for our little time jamming together. And I think I'd love to do this as often as we can. But Alex,
I was going to say, I kept the energy up because I didn't see you drinking any coffee. So I want to make sure you see
I had my black gold before this. I always have a nice double espresso. It's one investment I made is good coffee.
It's an important investment.
No, absolutely, Doodles. Your energy, man. It's my favorite kind. I'm often that guy at the festivals out there as well. I used to be a circus performer and entertainer, so it was kind of like my job was to keep the energy up as well. I want to hear some stories
about that. I need to start my own podcast so I can ask you questions about it.
That's also an idea. By the way, Doodles, could you be a host for the interview with Mark? I was thinking about it for sure. If you want to, you be the host for him.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I probably have to have Mark teach me on how to do it. I've never done it, so I need to learn. I need to learn from the experts. So I need to talk with Mark about how to do it effectively. But yeah, I can gladly do that. That would be fun.
Cool.
Well, there you go, Alex.
Yeah, let's do this for sure.
Fantastic. I reckon that's a good idea, man. All right, and we've just got Nishan in here as well, who was listening while he's working, but I think he's gotten tricked out of working into listening. Just saying he's really enjoying building on the platform. Need to check out nodes, and we'd love to hear. Yeah, well, we can do my story time another day, and I'd absolutely love that, Doodles. I reckon that'd be so much fun. Now, Alex, I'm going to hand it to you for some questions, because Alex always brings some gold to the conversation. And Absolutely. If anyone's watching the YouTube live stream right now, Twitch live stream, or here in the chat, and you want to ask Doodles a question, comment that he, let him know anything, then please go ahead with that, and I'll monitor that while you guys are doing your little Q&A. All right, Alex, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Mark. So first of all, I would like to say that Doodles, to have this level of energy that you have and sharing with us, you need to be a very good sportsman. Is it right? So do you do a lot of sport activities?
So I wish I could. I love sports, but I was better. I played high school football, but I was better at being the energy on the sidelines, helping out my teammates that might have been 6'4", 220 pounds, right?
Yeah. So was it a football or soccer?
So when I was really young, it's kind of funny. When I was really young, I grew up playing soccer, and I was good. I was good at soccer. I was good at soccer, and I could have definitely done pretty well at that in high school, and who knows about like past that, right? But then I ended up having a growth spurt when I was in the 8th grade that all of a sudden, like in the span of 3 months, puberty hit me hard, and I ended up being the tallest person in my class and became like a good football player. And, football, American football was like the cool sport at my high school. And, all of a sudden I was really good at it. And so I quit playing soccer so I could concentrate on my football career. And the joke was on me because I never got taller since the 8th grade. So then all my classmates caught up to me, and I would have been the perfect size for soccer. But American football still is my favorite sport. When I was in high school, I got to play with a couple of like really famous football players, like Odell Beckham and Julio Jones. I got to cover both of those in high school. For
Wow.
those American football fans out there, shut both of them down, and those were my glory days.
Cool. And what's your favorite team?
The New Orleans Saints. I'm from New Orleans originally.
Oh, cool. So you are saying that you are very good at soccer player and then a football player. And would you choose this path for yourself if you wouldn't do the thing that you are doing now for living?
I mean, if I could play a game, and I mean the amount of like work that goes into that, right? Like world-class athletes, the amount of training that they had to watch that goes into their body. I mean, it's much more than a game. They're probably working, 18. I mean, that's actually a 24-hour job because they also need to monitor the amount of hours of sleep they get, everything like that. But if I could do that, I mean, it would be fantastic. Like I love working with other people. I'm very extroverted. And so when you think of sports, I mean, even a one-on-one sport like boxing, you still have your entire team that, is helping train the boxer, and everybody's working together. And that's and with golfing, you have your caddy, you have your team. And so any kind of sport, and then you look at the more traditional team sports like your football, baseball, soccer, there's teamwork involved in all of those. And, what gets me like jazzed to wake up in the morning and to do work is it's really to like collaborate with others to make an impact on the world, an impact on the work that we do. And so, yeah, I would love doing sports because that's living on a team setting 24/7. But, I do love what I do. And, I think that DESO might be my real job right now anyways. Don't tell my employer, but but yeah, yes, I would love to play sports, but yes, I'm also so thankful with what I get to do and also just spending time with you all every day.
So speaking about your employer and this kind of relationship that almost everyone has now, like when we have double lives, one for DESO, one for our actual job. And just imagine that you have a company and one day, one morning CEO of your company would say that he's going to leave you and work for DESO as his project was approved by Octane Fund. What reaction would you have? What would you say to him?
Well, I would congratulate them on making the choice to change the world forever by making the decentralized social media the future.
Good answer. Because you can be on the spot of CEO for your employer someday.
Someday.
I hope they won't see this interview, of course. We're just kidding. So let me rephrase my first question, and I would like to ask you, if you wouldn't have the day job that you have now, and would have enough amount of DESO on your account to live the life you want, what would you do in your professional path, in your professional life?
I mean, so I guess you're asking kind of like if I could do anything, what would it be that I would do? And it's essentially it's a loaded question, but it's what drives it goes back to my same answer that I gave to you before. And so what I like doing is working with other talented people, collaborating with them, working very closely with talented people to drive impact on whatever it is that we're doing. And so I would still be doing something similar. Like, I would be looking for other talented people to work together to impact the world. And that might be on DESO, that might be a different startup, that might be in the same company, whatever it is. That's what I'd want to do. And so I'm not the type of person that could just like sit around and not do anything. That's not what gets me up. That's not what wakes me up in the morning. That's not what gets me excited about the day. That's not what injects this energy into my head that y'all are seeing right now. I get really fired up to just being with others and really making an impact.
It seems the venture capital industry is just created for you.
Yeah, Social Capital and Sequoia, give me a call.
You gotta have your own VC company. I hope so. You will have one soon.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny that you mention venture capital, because I'm waiting to see if there could be somebody that gets hired from a VC, that gets hired to a reputable VC firm based on their investments in creator coins. Because when you think about it, and I've been very vocal about this, I think that every creator coin is like, it is a startup, right? Every creator coin is a startup. You have your responsibilities to your investors. You're building out a business or a brand, whatever it is. And then when I buy creator coins, I think about this with a venture capital perspective. And, I can go into those a little bit further. You might have to like do a Doodles Academy lecture to really get the full gist of it. But essentially what you want to do when you're investing at venture scale is let's say you invest in like 10 different, let's say 10 different creators. When I invest in 10 creators, I'm going to lose most of my money on at least half of those. And then a couple of those, I probably won't even get any money back. But what you want to do is being able to help that one or two, that's a real rocket ship, that unicorn, you want to help them be able to really make it and make that 100x on your returns. And so, that's the way that I think about my coin buying on DESO, on Bitclout. And so I'm really interested in seeing if, people do a couple months, couple years down the road, they have their portfolio of their ROI from buying creator coins, how they've helped creator coins, what they've accomplished on this. And if that ends up constituting as a resume to be able to have an interview or a job over at one of these reputable VC firms that are so ingrained into our culture, my guess is yes. My guess is it will. And so it's something that I'm very cognizant of, and just kind of like evaluating and watching how that kind of like plays out. I have so many like ideas on how this can end up playing out. And the best part is, because this is so early and because it's decentralized, we're the ones that are able to bring all these kinds of ideas into fruition. And so you can, if you want to work in venture capital, structure your portfolio of creator coins in a specific way, figure out how you're going to help out those creators, make your connections, because it's a very relationship driven industry, and you can set yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And thank you for your thoughts about this. It's very insightful. And just wanted to mention one thing, because it's a very hot topic. And from my point of view, investing in creator coins, it's not the same as investing in company, because you don't have rights. It's more like trading for now. Maybe in the future there will be some additional layers of getting some rights for being an investor.
So I agree with that 100%, right? These aren't voting shares or anything like that, but that's also, we're so early. So so right now everything's speculation driven. We're too small. We don't have the app set to really drive in value. We don't have the amount of people to drive in value. And so everything's speculation. And so there's two different analogies that are going to place here. So one, we're early on the bonding curve compared to where this can go if this does become decentralized social media and takes over all of social media, right? You're looking at like $1 trillion plus valuation. So very early on. And so you're capturing your digital real estate in a finite world right now. And so it's like akin to buying real estate in Manhattan in the 1700s. So you want to place your speculative bets like that right now. And the second of which is, this platform has only existed for 6 months. Most people haven't been on this platform for 6 months. And so to ask for pure value right now and understand where that value is coming from, it's kind of a fallacy. It's like, if you go back to 1998, 6 months into Amazon's selling a good amount of books at that time. And you see there's some potential and they're making some revenue. And so you could have had some active investors that say, hey, Jeff Bezos, give me some dividends with that revenue from those books that you're selling. And if Jeff Bezos, instead of working towards the future, instead of reinvesting those profits and building out for the long term, if they did that immediate value, if they provide that immediate utility in the form of dividends, I bet you Amazon would still be around, but I bet you they'd be a damn good bookseller and they wouldn't be the Amazon of today, right? And so I think that you really have to look at things and just how early this is, and that if you're too focused on providing an immediate value to a community that is not going to look like what's going to look like a year from now. We don't know what's going to look like a year from now. So if you optimize for right now, you're not optimizing for the right time. You're going to miss out on potential serious value that could come in the future.
Absolutely. And my point was about that there is a room where you can develop the greater coin mechanics on different nodes. So you can like paste, if you own two coins of the project, you can have the right to get some shares of real company or something like this. So it's just an idea that I shared.
So Alex, I asked a similar question about that today to one of the Discords that I was in. What I'm curious about with the dev fund is, if I had to guess, the dev fund's going to be money that $50 million on DESO right now. Like if it was in the form of Clout, that's a lot of money. Like if I had to guess, a lot of this money is going to be off of DESO. So then who they're giving it to can pay their bills and do this full time, and hire teams and stuff like that that do need to pay their salaries in like USD or wherever they are, some form of currency that's currently accepted at the supermarket. And so, what I'm wondering is, if they're not paying it out in DESO, if they're paying it out in a national currency, how will it end up benefiting coin holders of the different projects that the devs are raising the money for? And so that's the question that I don't know. And I'm wondering what the answer is going to be. And I wonder if they've already thought about that and how to bridge those two together. And it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah. So we have a little time, but I'll do very quick questions, and I think we can get quick answers as well. So when the prom of Doodles Academy is going to be, and is it allowed to bring parents to it?
Wait, I'm sorry, Alex, can you repeat that?
Yeah. When the prom, graduation of Doodles Academy is going to be, graduation party, and is it allowed to bring parents to it?
How good are you at throwing parties? Need somebody to throw the party, Alex.
So,
well, actually, Alex, maybe we have to have a celebration party for all his graduates.
Of course,
we can do a promotional event.
Yeah, let's invite Doodle Academy and all participants of it to join us for this celebration party. And if you want, we can even think of doing some short interviews with each of them on Cloud4.
If you can do what with each of them?
Interview, podcast, short form.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for them, but I can give you their names, and I think that a lot of them would be thrilled about it. And so I know that Gabriel's listening to this right now, so maybe he can respond to the chat. He's a member of Doodles Academy, but yeah, I think that you all actually had interviewed Lisa last week, who's part of Doodles Academy, Lisa Marriott. Mm-hmm. And so you've already done one, and I mean, I would love for that to happen. But yeah, I'll connect you with each of them and see if that's something they'd like to do.
I mean that we can do it in a form of partnership or cooperation, so it can bring two projects together if you want.
Absolutely. Gabriel's in the chat saying he's all in, happy to be again on Cloud4.
Awesome. So when the season 2 of the Doodles Academy is going to start? I mean, the second 10 creators will join you. The second part.
Yeah, so that's a good question. The plan is early, like Q1 of 2022. And so we haven't planned the demo day yet for this cohort. So we've had 3 different guest speakers. We've probably had 5 sessions. We've had 3 guest speakers, all amazing. We have our 4th guest speaker this upcoming Friday, and then we have 3 others that are planned, and then we'll be doing the demo day sometime after that. I'm trying to time our demo day, and what a demo day is where you have a lot of investors with big pockets that will, you have an intimate setting, and each of the startups or the creators of Doodles Academy will be able to pitch the investors, tell them what it is that they're bringing to the platform. If they had this money, what it is that they do with that money. and how they could support them. And so I've actually been trying to time this to kind of overlap when there's been some gas on fire and money flowing around pretty frequently. And so I think that that's going to be in about a month. And so that's my intention. And demo day is also be the same time as graduation day. And, I'm really excited about this associations feature that Nader and the core team. Yes, Jason, I'm in Miami right now. And so I'm really excited about this, this associations feature that the core team's bringing on, kind of like the verification 2.0, right? Where they've talked about you can have an association with a university, a company, whatever it is. And it's always been my intention to give every graduate of Doodles Academy like this NFT that says that they went through it, et cetera. And now we have this association feature, and it hasn't rolled out yet, but I'm really excited to be able to, distribute those at graduation, but also be able to continue to have these associations moving forward and seeing what that looks like. And so I couldn't ask for a better timing on for when that's going to roll out, because the expectation is that's going to be rolling out at about the same time that we end up having graduation and demo day.
Cool. Awesome. And speaking about lectures and speakers, I know that you are going to have NFT giveaway for all viewers, and I will give the floor to Mark and you to describe it.
Yeah. So I guess, Mark, are you going to jump in or?
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. So yeah, as you mentioned already, Doodles, you've got a pretty special little NFT giveaway. So everyone who's watching, first of all, thank you for watching. We do genuinely really appreciate the love and support from the community for Clout Forum. Just do a big shout out to the people who are tuning in live. So we've got Jason Devlin, Gabrielle DeSanti, Ides of March, Nashon, who's also Sean Drums on Bitclout. And we have over on YouTube, Ryan Elf as well. Bitclout Ryan Elf is tuning in. So thank you everyone for tuning in live. And if you're watching live, or even if you're watching the replay, to help get the work out there, we're doing an NFT giveaway from the guests every episode. So do you want to talk to us, Doodles, about yours? And I'll bring it up on a screen share here, and you can tell us about the giveaway. Oh, hang on a second, Alex, can you make me co-host? Can't do the screen share now. We need some elevator music. There we go. Perfect. Thanks, brother. All right. So here's the NFT, Doodles. So now whoever ends up holding this NFT gets a ticket to one of your lectures, I believe. Is that correct? Do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah. So I'll talk about this, and then you can talk about how to actually win it, because my technically challenged self, I think, had kind of messed up when I was trying to make this live for everybody. But yeah, so essentially with the Doodles Academy, like, this is a very small and intimate cohort where we do get to have, where we're so fortunate enough to be able to have guest speakers and learn from their expertise and apply learnings from those to the way that we all work on Bitclout and DESO. And I'm really lucky for it too, because I get to learn from each of these guest speakers that are so, that are so thankfully and graciously giving us their time. And so we do have 3 different upcoming speakers. And what we're giving away as an NFT right now is the ability to join in one of these sessions, one of these intimate Q&A sessions with the guest speaker. These speakers that we do have, we never record any of them. So then, anything that happens in that room stays in that room, and everybody can feel their best self, whether that's somebody from the Doodles Academy side or even the guest speaker. And so now you'll have the ability to be able to join in on one of these, and we'll be able to choose which one it is based on what your schedule is. And, I'm excited about it because we get to bring in somebody else into this, and somebody else gets to get some of the knowledge that all of us are working towards. And so, yeah, really excited for you to be able to join us for one of these upcoming speeches. And Mark, I'll pass it over to you to talk about how exactly to get it.
That's awesome, man. I just seen Jason has just commented in here, Jason Devlin. I let my hair way down as a guest speaker the other day. So no, absolutely. I mean, as you can hear, everyone who's watching this, that's a pretty incredible opportunity because, like you say, Doodles, most things when they're recorded, etc., are all being professional and the rest. But the real grit you get when the microphones are off and you can just be open and talk about the reality of it and just really get into it. And so that sounds like an amazing opportunity that you can't buy right now. So the only way to get this opportunity is to win it. And the way that you can win this opportunity is when this is finished, Alex with Clout Forum is going to be putting up the replay of this podcast episode with Doodles. And all you need to do is repost. How's that? I've already caught on. Not reclout, repost these days. So all you need to do is repost the replay of this conversation with Doodles. And then I believe Thursday morning, was it 10 a.m. EST? Did we agree on?
Works for me.
11, 10?
Yes.
Let's say 10 a.m.
10
EST.
a.m.
Perfect. So 10 a.m. EST on Thursday. So you've got about 48 hours. So once that replay goes up today, share it out, get it out there. And all you need to do is repost it and you will go in the running to win the NFT. And then the winner will be transferred the NFT and you will then have access to one of the lectures, which is priceless, literally. So
I mean,
really appreciate
the people, some of the people that we meet with are, I mean, they're fantastic. Everybody that we meet with, I mean, they're fantastic. And it's an incredible opportunity. And, you know, I'm thankful to just have the opportunity to be a part of these as well.
Absolutely. Well, it is a genuine blessing, Zach. It is a genuine blessing having this conversation with you, my friend. I feel blessed to have met you before all this, you know, got to where it is. You know, there's so many. I think we're going to see, you know, I just quickly, I used to be into acting and performing all these things. And I started noticing, why does all the actors seem to know each other from before they were all famous? Like, how does that happen? And then I start realizing, right, like here we are, all of us, like, you know, in the early stages. And if you just join now, you're still part of all of us. You're still part of the early stages right now. Might not seem it. This is where those bonds get made, right? Because when it blows up and amplifies 1000x and it's, you know, starts becoming a global platform that's being used for so many different things, you know, we're all going to know each other from the very early days. You know, there's going to be these incredible humans that have deep, meaningful relationships that are planted all over the planet, working on all kinds of different things. But we're going to be sharing a unified storyline, you know, of how we got there and where we're going. And that is going to be a powerful thing. And I say that from a place for humanity in the sense that we need good people with power now. We need to stop pushing power away and giving it away. We need to start owning that power, owning the responsibility that comes with that power, and start working together in community to share it. So with all that said, Doodles, love your work so much, brother. I love everything you do, the energy you bring to the platform. I love all the time that you've, you know, just given in from your heart to that. And I wish you all the prosperity in the world. Please, everyone, make sure you're following Doodles. He's a great resource on the platform. Keep in touch with the Doodles Academy. I'm looking forward to what comes out of there, and we'll be staying in touch on that one. And Alex, thank you for the hosting. Thank you again, everyone who joined us live. What do you reckon, Doodles?
I appreciate it. Sounds like next time I'll be the one interviewing you. So yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. Thanks for the chat, Mark. I really enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun, and looking forward to do this more often. And for anybody that views this, you know, we went over an hour. So if you listen to me for 70 minutes, kudos to you. And you know, I appreciate you taking the time. And if there's anything that I can do for you on DESO, any kind of questions, if you're looking for where you think you fit in, anything like that, I'm a DM away. So yeah, looking forward to building out DESO with each of you.
Thank you for joining us, Doodles. Thank you, Mark, for great conversation and doing a lot of Clout Forum as well.
Take care.
Absolutely.